favorites here in the room. I've got lots of favorites, but I've never gotten to introduce Stephen Ostrowski before to a public audience. Even though he has many of his own, he's such an accomplished writer and such a humble writer. Stephen, how many years were you at Eastern State? Central. 23. Stephen just retired, even though he looks like just a kid with dreams, from 23 years teaching probably a lot of basic writing courses and introductions to American literature and introductions to American poetry. I first met Stephen when he started showing up at the gatherings that I host once a month at the Savoy bookstore. And to my sensitivity, his intelligence, his time with words, his huge open heart are unparalleled. I mean, to any other writer. I know lots of writers that do other things in different ways. But Stephen tends to we're all just writing down things that he said when he reads a prose poem. So I'm Lisa Starr. I'm glad to see you all here tonight. We're gonna open with Stephen. We're gonna hear from the Carlines. We're gonna take a 15-minute break. Stephen's books are on the table. The Carlines' products are on the table, CDs, information about where they'll be performing next. And Brian's books didn't arrive on time, which doesn't matter at all. We're selling them on behalf of the of Big Square Books. So we would love it if you would love to have a book signed by Brian. He will be signing books during the break and after the show. It'll just take about 10 days for those books to arrive, with the exception of the one that doesn't come out in print until August 8th. Which one's that? The Wild Delight of Wild Things. So we're selling those here because, who knows, Bank Square Books, despite their infinite wisdom, might not have any of them on the shelf. So you can buy them here before they break into the world with the man himself. So thanks for being here. Please, if you haven't yet, and even if you think you did, check your cell phones to make sure they're quiet. And let me introduce with all pleasure and honor my friend Stephen Ostrowski to come on up and start us off.
Thank you so much. Lisa, thank you. Is that better? Yes. You can hear me? It's just a complete honor for me to be here today. I feel like the day I walked into the Savoy for a Monday late afternoon poetry group, just kind of on a whim, was the day, my angel showed up in the form of Lisa Starr. So thank you all for your attention. I had meticulously planned to start with 2 new prose poems, and they're on the living room table. Which is kind of typical of the way I plan things. So I'm going to read some poems from Persons of Interest, which to my delight and astonishment won Wolfson Press Chapel Prize a year ago or so. Persons of Interest being kind of the people who influenced me as a young person, and some more personal relationships too. So I'm going to start with the first poem, which is called Skeleton Blood Memoir with Bob. Bob being Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan was a tremendously important person to me when I was, say, 10 years old and on. My brother used to play his records in his room. He kept the door closed, so I would just lay on the rug and listen, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, just to all of those great singer-songwriters. So this is called Skeleton Blood Memoir with Bob. Slight trigger warning, there's an FU in here. Port Richmond got too small, too hindsight-driven, way past tense. They converted stop signs into funerals and jukeboxes into arrest warrants. Dirge clouds gathered all summer over the girders of the Bayonne Bridge, and me, ancient and 17, and him spitting out those dagger songs. Held in smoke and dark-eyed friends, him on the 33, launching lines from Mercury, preferring the other side of everything. Mirror ballads, pinstripe blues, railroad drunk dog whale songs. I can still hear that wavy oxygen sound spilling across the room, flooding my broke open brain. I smoked the chords too. Not one of the girls in that town got him. He's too... They had assets, but not the ear for Shakespeare's orphan. Thank you for laughing, that's supposed to be fun. If they'd have gotten him, they'd have gotten me too, inside out and up the wazoo. We'd have been kid-faced lovers, infamous on Richmond Avenue for our iron-singed eyes and lyric-smeared smiles. And it doesn't leave you ever. Leaves tracks that harp in your blood. Leaves you spastic, balletic, moonful in your poems, howl-round in the bedroom, a little lonely in the eye sockets, but approaching mystic. His ghost songs, even 50 years down the highway, shiver like the last hotel in the hurricane. Back then, world said, be this. I said, fuck you. I had his records in my cells, all the curves and edges, sulfur gaze hard as Duluth. I said, your song's used up. I've got a whalebone inlaid xylophone and 10 words that rhyme with it. He didn't teach me everything. Why would I even want that? Be true to your pulse. Keep the hammer headed south. Stay amused. Polish your boots. Don't explain. Good night and thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you so much. I read this next poem at a reading I did at community college not too long ago, and afterwards the person said, when I heard the title, I thought, there's no way this poem's going to work. I've heard 1,000 poems like this, but you seem to have pulled it off. I'll see if you guys think so. It's called Poem for the Reader of This Poem. So it's for you, or the listener. Thank you. I know you've put your destiny, or your lunch, or the reading of some other poem, maybe by someone you've actually heard of, on hold for me. I sure don't want to disappoint you. I myself have kissed 1,000 faces of disappointment. I've skipped words, lines, stanzas, impatient for a payoff, only to skim the dry lips of disappointment yet again. Reader, I feel like telling you my secrets. Secrets about my great inadequacy, my less than noble reasons, why my eyes are closed. But even more, I feel like asking you to tell me one of yours, one of the ones that most needs letting out after being so long held in, like breath underwater that hurts almost to death. Let now come the secret telling that's like the saving gasp of air. If it's easier, you can tell me like this, using my words, to count as yours. In fact, let's say it together. I haven't loved enough. I know selfishness like a sister. If sin is real, I have been weighted to stone with it. But reader, listen. I love you no matter what harm you've done. I love you even if you've murdered a starfish. I love you even if you've closed the door and shut the lights. I love you in your thick rolling fog and on your lonely sand dune and during those nights when you've shuddered on the other side of every window against storms of your own sadness. Rita, are you still here? Many would be gone by now. Most would never have come. Thank you for coming and staying. Here we are, one line from the end, and I miss you already. Neil Young was another hero of mine. This is called Neil Young. Hunched in the cab of his rusted truck, an old man hums gravel and dust, another dusk in the devil-swirled dusks. His eyes follow the rolling wave of pink-tinted grain. His cracked hand spreads open like a power chord's gush through a mahogany hall, distortions for a brain, and thinks, in the end, there's been a rise for every fall. Low in the fade-out sky, the moon eye of a ghost opens and shuts. Down from the canyon's teeth comes an animal howl, a dry, restless gust. This poem is a poem I wrote for a dear friend of mine when we were growing up. We were kind of misfits together. Got into a lot of trouble, spent a lot of brain cells. Haven't seen him in a while, but I still love him and hope he still has a little fondness for me. We did a lot of things together, including hitchhiking across the country. It was the tail end of when you could get away with doing that. It was like mid-70s. It was late, and there were some reasons why that we discovered. But we lived to tell the tale anyway. This is called Wayward in the Blood. Hey, so, we were brothers back then, geniuses at the reservoir, obliterated but not once drowned. Strung out and guitar-minded, we laughed where girls wouldn't go. We estranged Staten Island, blurred all its yellow lines. I grubbed cigs and you grinned at my Ginsbergy poems. 17, you drove a Dodge Dart and I walked a lot. We spent brain cells in bars, wasted wishes on hot girls who found us hysterical but not quite. So one summer we thumb and middle fingered our way across America, remember? But it was those black-eyed native dudes in Minnesota who got a piece of historical revenge when they took our money and didn't come back with the goods. We tried to fish Hemingway out of the big two-hearted river, but Papa fought us like a son of a bitch. So we waded in without poles just to feel the clean copper cool of a river that didn't ooze with Jersey oil. West, we ascended into rocky space like grimy seraphim. We fell asleep on switchbacks. We were skinny as tree-lined pines. Our songs had no radio. Our hair was dirt long but shampooed by the sexy fingers of the sun. Way up on Long's Peak, we reflected weird in a pair of mountain girls' azure eyes. We grinned a hey and watched their beauty descend giggling from the summit. They're lost, we laughed, they're lost. And we headed down, headed home, thin-souled and undefiled yet again, headed east to figure ourselves into the rest of our lives. Yo, so, you think those years of lust and rebel and howl left some trace of wayward in our blood for good? I do. Now and then I wonder how you've been. I hope you're aging with a grace that's smoky and fierce. I don't imagine you ever gave in. Me, I'm still writing my gravel and dust poems. For who, I couldn't say. Doesn't matter. I know this for sure. I'm doing what I want to do. Yeah. Good to see my writing group friends there. Thank you so much for coming. This is dedicated to Terry Gross, only because her name appears in the first line. And I was writing a book called Persons of Interest, and I needed to have a dedication for it. So, it's called Windows for Terry Gross. I was driving with coffee and Terry Gross, and I turned my head to where deep in the woods, something big, breathing, brown moved like a curtain, but the lenses of my glasses have this oily smudge I cannot seem to wipe away. Space. Me, colon. It's weird for a person to talk to himself. Me, colon. Yes, but even weirder if he talks to himself through a window. Space. At the drive-thru, I was served by a young girl who reminded me of Jesus. The way she handed me my fish sandwich and small water, so graceful, like our fingers were miracles. The way she wondered if I needed anything, then slid the glass closed and right away tended to another's need. Space. Our neighbor's daughter, Felicia, is pregnant. Yesterday, she showed us the sonogram. Even through the smudge, I could see the little fingers of one of the baby's hands spreading out like 5 roads from the hub. Last space. Neil Young has that line in Helpless, blue, blue windows behind the stars. I always liked that he put the windows behind the stars, that the stars come first. Thank you. Thank you so much. Maybe the Carleans could sing a little bit of If I Fell in Love with You, the Beatles song, If I Fell. This song has something to do with that. It's called Leaf, Fire, A Kind of Vague Sorrow, and Lennon and McCartney. Working from the room upstairs, the room where the outside comes in, the room with the wide window, and October almost over. Down there, the trees shed dying fire into sheets of cold-hearted gusts. Up here, Beatles on soft. Just now, If I Fell. If I did from this far up, the fall would break my bones. Up here, wind and wine find their way somehow right through the glass, come in, all sense and sound. Up here, I notice how, scorched in scarlet, the yellowed grass receives what falls, and how this harmony breaks me, and how I've learned to stand the pain. Stand the pain. Okay, that's why you guys are doing that. And this is the last one I'll read from Persons of Interest. It is a prose poem. It's called Ars Poetica, which I understood when I wrote it to be an explanation for why I became a poet, or at least tried. Ars Poetica. And it's dedicated to one of my high school English teachers. Port Richmond appears in a number of these poems. I grew up on Staten Island in a town called Port Richmond, kind of a gritty, hard-scrabbled neighborhood. Good place to grow up, though. Because Port Richmond demanded that particular form of strangeness for every 709th kid, my luck. Otherwise, I'd be sentenced to beers and smoke with the misfits under the Bayonne Bridge, blurred and waiting for John Gramino to jump into the river with a millstone chained to his breakup heart. I was there anyway. And because every aching adolescent night, Bob Dylan sang through my older brother's closed bedroom door, and I said, "Wait, you can even say that?" And Dylan answered by saying it even stranger. And because one stuffy classroom afternoon, under the abstracted influence of naked songs and death by love, I finally wrote my risk in words, and my English teacher's head tipped after I finished reading, and her eyes waited for mine to lift, and she said, slowly, even a little sexily. Read that again, Stephen. Thank you so much. A few more poems. I had the great experience of writing and publishing a book of poems with my son. And it's called Penultimate Human Constellation. I won't get into why. But a father and son converse in poems. And it was basically on a lark in a way that we started it. But then we really got into it, and then I think I put on Facebook, anybody know a publisher who might be interested in a father and son collection? And somebody said, try Servina Barva Press. And at that point it was half this. And I sent it on a Sunday night, and on Monday she got back to me and said, yeah, we want to publish it. Which I told my son Benjamin, it doesn't work like that. This is just, we just got lucky here. Anyway, later on we wrote a full-length book and got lucky again with Tolson Press. And it's a kind of back and forth conversations where we riff off each other's lines and just kind of have a good time, sort of free-form jazzy a little bit. But I'm just going to read a few poems that are locally based. These are ones written by me. You'll have to go see Benjamin read his, and I think you would enjoy that a lot. So this one is called New London. 3 New London trash collectors sit nearby on the dock eating lunch. They wear phosphorescent orange teas, fast burgers, cartons of fries. They've earned their midday hunger. I'm sipping a coffee, watching the busy river play. On the other side, Groton pipes up steamy poison into the blue. I've just been to the doctor, who says I should drink more water. Brilliant rhyme. Your texts come irregularly, bud, as spotty Wi-Fi permits. I'm talking to him, he's in Southeast Asia. I'm in Southeast Connecticut. Your texts come irregularly, as spotty Wi-Fi permits, some with pics that astonish us. Loud, the lush hills and the ornate temples, the placid eyes of monks, the million carts and muddy boats, the savory beer. Oh, I admit my envy. And when 2 textless days go by, I admit my fear. Someday, if I'm able, I'll take that slow boat up to Huizhai. I've always loved the mystery of rivers, swirly brown waters, amid all manner of curling, green, seen, unseen forces. I want to be among the smiling monks, want to share a holy giggle with them, until the giggle and we are one. Two more poems. This one is called Mystic. Have you ever heard of it? Mystic. Yeah, I mowed the feisty lawn this afternoon, listening to a book by Thich Nhat Hanh, I always say that wrong, called On Letting Go. Everybody lets go of something. Eventually, everybody lets go of everything. And yet, I think about how I'll hug you when you get off the train in New Haven, changed in the way long foreign travel changes the traveler. How strange home becomes. A hard hug that you'll feel in the feet. Then, contented, I'll let go. There've been low clouds like a Buddha belly all morning, but in a single instant, the yard became enlightened. Gold paint on the grass, green fire in the trees. I decided I'd take a ride up 95 to Mystic to see the art show on the streets. I asked your mother if she'd join me. She breathed a million things to do. I waited inside her eyes. She breathed out lotus scent. Okay, let's go. And I'll close with this one. We live in Niantic and East Lyme, so this one is called East Lyme. When Benjamin was a young boy, he played a lot of sports and stuff, and I was always one of the coaches. So this kind of reminded me of our early days as father and son. East Lyme. Driving home, dusk fall. Making a right gets me there quicker. I turn left. Some father is hitting grounders to his young son on the dusty East Lyme Little League infield. I slow. The ball skips through the boy's legs, scuttles into left field. That's all right, good try. Grab that ball. We still got him at home. Come home with it. The little body seizes, heaves the baseball wild, almost straight up into the chalky ghost of the moon. Good throw, buddy. Held him at third. Saved a run. I drive on. Oh, I could weep. Bud, I could weep. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Isn't he so good? Wow. You show up at the bookstore, at the Savoy bookstore on the first Monday of every month, and you never know what you will learn. Your voice has been so welcome, and it's opened so many doors and windows for me, and I'm sure right here, Stephen. I think you're taking us one way, and then you're taking us another. So Stephen's books are on the table. We'll have a chance to buy them all after this. I won't call it an interlude. Shall we call it an intervention? I'd like an intervention right now of my own choosing. And so I choose the Carlines to intervene. We're minus one member tonight. Megan, I think, has like 4,000 kids by now or something. Rachel, I'm sorry. 4,022 children, and she couldn't be here tonight, but that's okay because the Carlines carry so much power. With the four of them here, we might just blow through the roof. I fell in love with these guys the first time I heard them play, which was upstairs at the Malted Barley. In all my days on Block Island, I never made it to the music fest. I was too busy hiding from people. But I do know that one of my great friends who travels from Great Barrington, Massachusetts to Block Island every year was like, oh my God, her name's Lola. Oh my God, have you ever heard the Carlines? And like Mr. and Mrs. Carline came into the Great Barrington Brew Pub, and I think she introduced herself, and she was so kind of dumbfounded because you were the rock stars that have brought new music to an old soul. And so I'm so glad that you guys were available to join us tonight, and we welcome the three of you with open arms and open hearts. Come on up and rock.
Hi, folks. How are you? That was lovely. I sort of just want to put Lisa in the van so she can introduce us everywhere we go.
It's hard to hear you, Sarah.
Is it hard?
It won't be in a second. I'm kind of a whaler. Yeah.
This first song is a song about I guess the first two songs are about women in New Orleans. Not by choice. This one's about a triangle player in a Zydeco band. Kind of the unsung heroes of Cajun music. Just always been fascinated by them.
She played a silver triangle, the sweetest ring. She played Zydeco on the bio. She played the corners off that thing. Pretty as her picture, still on the wall of juke joints from Texas to Arkansas. Well, she was married to a Creole, a wrangler named Walter. He ran off with her twin sister. She never knew what he saw in her. She still hides the hurt, the sorrow and the shame. 3 sides to every story, 3 fingers for the pain. Triangle. She prayed Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. She played Holy Trinity on every coast. Well, she followed the money till the money ran out, and she followed her heart till her mind went south. She chased that dream till the dream nearly killed her, holding fate on a string, playing that silver triangle. She prayed Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. She played Holy Trinity on every coast. She played a silver triangle. Sometimes it still rains, hanging in her window like a heart on a sleeve. Framing the moon, the sun and the world. Well, it still rings true for a bayou girl. Triangle. Ooh. The silver triangle.
I thought you did.
I know. Sorry, we're not as good at banter as Stephen is. We're working on it. We're all a little introverted. It makes a great band.
I was gonna say it's a little bright in here.
It's supposed to be dark. We are also usually playing in the dark. People are almost drunk. So this is a new setting. Feel a little exposed. This is called Maggie's Underwood, like the typewriter. not underwear, I said frequently. That's a different kind of song.
Sometimes when Sarah's taking a while to tune, I step up to the mic and they go, no. So.
Morning through the window, lights in Maggie's tired eyes, and falls upon a picture of a bride in black and white, standing by a man whose love soon faded, yellowing in forgotten pages of Maggie's prose and rhyme. In fiction live the children in Maggie's fertile dreams. She sends them out into the world in books and magazines. On a pawn shop under which she types, running down the ribbon like a highway. She goes home, a barefoot bayou child. On a train to New Orleans, they fell apart, derailed in a fiery sea. He broke her heart. You can hear a sad refrain in the night, or the beat of a lover's heart. You can feel the truth or the pain of a lie when the words come too hard. There's a joy in Maggie's eyes that tells the story between the line and the carriage bell. Oh, wish her well. On a train to New Orleans, they fell apart, derailed in a fiery scene. He broke her heart. There's a mailbox nailed to a hickory stump on the road to Maggie's house. And I've seen that woman like a young girl run or walk with her head bowed down. No lost lover's apathy could break her spirit or silence the weary keys of that old machine. On a train to New Orleans, they fell apart, derailed in a fiery scene. He broke her heart. On a train to New Orleans.
You guys are nice.
He's just cheering.
What happened?
He's just cheering.
Did Danny get too excited? Oh, there's a dog. I thought you were talking about Danny. I was like, why didn't you kick him out? Never mind.
Now, this song's in the form of a letter that is from a guy to the woman he betrayed.
We write a lot of happy tunes. If you haven't figured that out. It's a joyous occasion.
I introduce it so you don't expect much.
Fate she lied, now she wears your ring. The church bell rang like a siren. She was showing by then you were gone, Irene. Blame the drinking or the pull of the moon. It's the weakness in a man and the ruin of a fool. The choir sang in a minor key. I said I do, but I was promised to you, Irene. Church bells rang so goddamn loud. The whole world must have heard those faithless vows. And in her eyes I could see the flames of every bridge I burned, betraying you, Irene. If this finds you, know my sorrow. For your mercy, I'd beg, steal, or borrow. Child was born of another life. Brown skin, another man's pride. There's a ring in the wishing well, and the truth rings clear as that bell till the early spring. I'll wait and dream, and when it's time, I'll let you go, Irene. Those church bells rang so goddamn loud. The whole world must have heard those faithless vows. And in her eyes I could see the flame every bridge I burn, betraying you I rain. All I learned, betraying you I rain.
See, they like the dark stuff. These are our people.
Boy.
It's not even his baby. Ugh, I can't. I'm so sad.
There's some about my mother, but I can't tell that story.
She says it's not true. It's a cute little interaction they have.
There's two things I'm not allowed to do in the band. One is tell the story about my mother and smoke weed.
Just before he plays, listen, it's a long story.
It was an experiment, and it failed.
There's a venue in Burlington we could never go to again. It's a long story.
I smoked too much weed in Burlington, Vermont.
And you didn't even know it. That was the best part.
You accidentally
It
smoked
was
too much
accident.
weed.
We hotboxed my car.
Not accident.
Stolen story.
It's gonna sound like we made it up. But anyway, yeah, we don't have time for that. Ask us after, we'll tell you. There's a sadness in my mother's eyes, put there by the rain. And her blues, they are a mystery, though it's true, I felt the same. When the darkness falls and the clouds above conceal the moon and stars, and the only one you've ever loved grows distant in your arms. The street shines like a dance floor from Mama's lonely walls, and the thunder beats 3/4 time in her empty dancing hall. She may drown her fear in the rain and the tears rolling down her face. She may see the light in a flash of white, chasing her blues away. Mama's out walking in the pouring rain, but she can't hide. There's something about the weather brings a tear to her eyes. Mama's out walking in the pouring rain. When she comes in, you can't tell where the rain stops and the tears begin. Now the rain beats down upon my roof and keeps me from my sleep. And I rise to put my walking shoes upon my weary feet. Ain't it just like the rain to remind you of a sadness in your heart? Ain't it just like Mama to be out here walking, pretending not to fall apart? Mama's out walking in the pouring rain, but she can't hide. There's something she comes in, you can't tell where the rain stops and the tears begin. You can't tell where the rain stops and the tears begin.
This is Sarah McLean. That's Karina Malborn on bass over there.
We're sort of hippies and we don't pay attention to the time, but do we have time for one more? Okay.
You more?
One more? Two more.
Okay.
I promise. This is Karina Malborn over here on the upright bass. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you want to do. Sorry, logistical matters.
It's a drinking song. Well, it's called I Can't Drink Enough.
It's old though, we've since proven that we can.
It's true.
We've done the market research.
Got that out of the way.
One trip to Key West.
Oh, we'll play a Key West song next.
I can't drink enough to make myself feel like there's something more than real. A little magic to fill my cup. I can't drink enough.
I close my eyes at the end of the day. Sweet dreams come and carry me away. But the morning light surely will come. I can't dream enough.
I never felt so lonesome, so stone cold, sober blue. I crave that sweet, sweet poison light, like a preacher prays for his truth. Well, I've seen the future and I've seen the past, in the sorrow of a woman, in the bottom of a glass. I've seen smoke and mirrors give the illusion of love. I've seen it all. I remember the hurt in your eyes, that cold November that we said goodbye. Dark, distant blue, you said if my heart were true, I could never stand the pain, watching love walk away. I can't drink enough to make myself feel like there's something more than real. A little magic, call it love, is righteous as an angel sent from above. Well, give me something to fill up my cup. I can't drink it. I can't drink enough.
Thank you very much. We got one more here.
This is Jim Carpenter. He writes all these songs.
Not this one.
And he writes short fiction. I think he has books with him. He won't tell you that because I don't know.
Because there's real writers in the room. I do have one poem, though, about a scholar named Ken. That just get my friend Patrick to laugh. This is a song Sarah wrote when we were on tour and the rest of us were in Key West doing something.
Testing that theory we just talked about.
Yeah. She was busy.
I think that when you're like young, you think being loved by someone means something, and then there's like a very interesting part of your life where you realize that maybe it's different than what you thought it would look like. Anyway, this song is called Road Trip. It's cold and dark and early. You throw me in the truck, and I mumble something nasty about how the sun's not even up. But by the time that we hit Jersey, you know it's bright and burning hot, and it starts to melt the ice outside, and there's chill around my heart. You see, I've been in the darkness, and I have not worn it well. And you have seen the worst of it, trying to dig me out. But there's a certain time of afternoon when the sunlight hits your face, and I think, damn, he is so beautiful. I can't believe he stays. And we roll slow through Virginia, 'cause even though you'd never see it, that place has your heart. And I cried through the Carolinas, 'cause you said they're dark but beautiful, and I hit you like that. 'cause you can see the light come back and burn out all my fears. We pull up to the edge of the world and you put the car in park, and we can't drive it any further, but it feels like a new start. There's healing washing over me, yeah, it's washing over us, and I just stand there in the Florida rain, wondering how I got this lucky. And I try to find the words to tell you what you mean to me, and you put your finger on my lips as if it isn't needed. You say I'm not here for gratitude, then you gently kiss my neck and whisper my love is forever.